Check. Panthers Nation, what up, though? It's Aaron Duncan here with the Necessary Bluntness Sports Talk, bringing you another Panthers video. And today we are previewing the Carolina Panthers at the New York Giants in week 2 of this NFL season. Now, a lot of people are saying this is almost already the season's crossroads for the Carolina Panthers, and in particular, Matt Rule. They lost to the Giants last year. They're saying if they lose again this year, the seats should be getting warm. Some people want Matt Rule fired after this game. Some people wanted Matt Rule fired 3 years ago as soon as he got hired. But nevertheless, we're going to get into this matchup and what all it has to do. I'm going to give you the things to watch, the injuries to pay attention to, some keys to the game, matchups to watch, and of course, my prediction at the end. So make sure you stick around for the whole thing. And you guys let me know how you feel down below in the comments. Give me your prediction itself. But before I get into that, like I said, my name is Aaron Duncan. I do recap and analysis of the Carolina Panthers. So if you don't want to miss any videos, film breakdowns that I do on a weekly basis, live streams, podcasts and things like that, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon. That way you get notification every time I drop a video. And also give the video a thumbs up because it really helps me out in the algorithm and it doesn't cost you a thing. But if you do want to show some support, look down below and look at the super thanks button, the little heart sign with the dollar sign in there. It really shows a token of appreciation for all the hard work that I put into the channel because I do this for the love, but I really appreciate any kind of appreciation you guys send my way. Nevertheless, we have to get into this matchup because it's going to be a tough one for the Panthers going on the road. So according to sports books that I look at, the Giants are currently 2-point home favorites versus the Carolina Panthers. Now, this is a long way drawn, but the Panthers are 0-1 right now. The Giants are 1-0. Obviously, the Baker Mayfield revenge game versus Cleveland, but the Giants pretty much stole the win from the Titans. They were underdogs in that game. A missed field goal by the Titans kicker ended up giving the New York Giants the first victory under head coach Brian Daboll. Now, Coach Brian Daboll's in his first year, obviously former offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. Matt Rule's going into his third year of this rebuild. So both teams are in different standpoints. Even though they met last year, this is a different coaching staff, different system, a lot of familiar faces. So there'll be a lot of things to get into. But let's talk about the injury front first. For the Panthers, it seems to be pretty limited. Now, some names popped up on the list that was a little alarming, but they're all limited participants. We did not have any DNPs, which is do not practices. The Thursday practice is typically the big day. So obviously Marquise Haynes, Taylor Moton, Brandon Smith, our rookie linebacker, and Frankie Louvu popped up on these lists. Like I said, they're limited participants. Hopefully everything works out. It could get ugly if Bolton's out. Obviously, we'll have to do a lot of reshuffling. That either means Cam Irving will be the backup right tackle or there'll be some shuffling. Who knows what would happen there. So a pretty clean bill of health for the Panthers. But the Giants, a little bit longer. Now, they've had one of their starting cornerbacks, Aaron Robinson. He was a DNP on Thursday. And obviously, Kayvon Thibodeau, their rookie first-round draft pick, he's been limited all week. It'll be kind of touch and go. It sounds like he'll be a game-time decision. Another one of their starting DNs, Azeez Ojulari. You know, I'm butchering this name, but he's actually one of the starting outside linebackers / DNs or whatever. And he was a limited participant. And his status is kind of up in there as well. He didn't play last week either. Kadarius Toney, who was a former first-round pick, pretty quick playmaker, is pretty dynamic in the opportunities he does get, even though he hasn't been getting too many opportunities with the team. He popped up on the list as a limited participant. We'll see. And Devery Hamilton, he is out with an illness. He's offensive tackle. So they got a couple guys on here that, like I said, some starters and some more important pieces that haven't really played for them that could, or the game status is kind of up in the air. So pay attention to that, especially when it comes to Thibodeau and Ojulari, I guess. I don't know how to pronounce his name. I apologize for butchering names. I hate when that happens to me. So that's what it is on the injury front. The Panthers look pretty good. Giants has some names to kind of watch and pay attention to on that defensive side. Okay, so like I mentioned, the Panthers lost to the Giants last year, and the score was 25-3. Obviously, the infamous Daniel Jones one-hand catch sticks out to mind, and it was that really hurt. I'm not going to lie. That hurt, and that loss was pretty embarrassing. Sam Darnold was our quarterback, had a red zone interception to our former teammate James Bradbury, and it was just an ugly game. It was 5-3 for a while, and then the bottom just kind of fell out, and mistakes started mounting up, and it was ugly. But this will be a new game because we have a new quarterback ourselves in Baker Mayfield. Obviously, they didn't have their best offensive weapon in Saquon Barkley. We didn't have our best offensive weapon in Christian McCaffrey, both guys that have been dealing with injuries from that running back position. So it's going to be a whole new ball game. I wouldn't bring any kind of thoughts from last year's game that would carry over to here just because there's been so much turnover. So I would probably get that out of my mind. But let's go into the matchups to watch. The first one I'm looking at is the interior line, and mainly for the offensive side for the Panthers. Now, Brady Christensen at left guard, Elfin at center, and right guard Austin Corbett had a pretty solid game last week against the Browns. Now, the Browns' strength is on the edges with Clowney and Garrett, so maybe that's why they had a little bit of better game, but they had a pretty respectable game just going back and looking at the tape about what happened, and none of them gave up pressure. This week is a different ball game because the Giants, they run this 3-4 system that Wink Martindale, I think is his name. He used to be the former Ravens coach. He runs that 3-4, a little bit of multiple formations as well with a three-man front, and they have big Dexter Lawrence. Dexter Lawrence is almost 350 pounds. Some of you guys from the Carolinas may know. Remember this guy from Clemson. He's a big man. He is a big man. Him and Leonard Williams in the front. Obviously, if Thibodeau plays, he'll be there. But that interior will be tested. I'll be looking to see how a much bigger guy like Lawrence gives troubles to a guy that's a little bit leaner and more of an athleticism type of center than a strength and power type of guy like Bozeman, his backup. Handles a big guy like Lawrence. Double teams will be huge. Trying to move this guy off the spot and get some movement on that front will be a key. But we'll see how they handle this guy after having a solid week last week. We'll see how they handle Dexter Lawrence in that middle of the field. The next matchup I'm thinking about is Adoree Jackson versus either DJ Moore or Robbie Anderson. Now, I put Adoree Jackson versus two different guys because I told you the number 2 corner, he's down. He'd probably be out. I think he had his appendix taken out, so he's definitely not playing. DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson last week. Obviously, Robbie Anderson went for 100 yards, the big play for 75. We all love to see the bombs over Baghdad. However, according to Next Gen Stats, last week against the Browns, both Robbie and DJ were top 10 in the NFL in cushion, as in the cornerbacks sagging off of these guys pre-snap. That's why you saw a lot of those quick outs from Baker Mayfield. A lot of RPOs attempted to go that way because they were getting so much cushion because they knew the speed would be a factor with these two guys. We'll see how they play this week. I know Martindale, he likes to run some man coverage at times. Obviously, he likes to mix things up, like I said, with the multiple defense, but I'm expecting to see Adoree Jackson either be shadowing DJ Moore or Robbie Anderson. He can't be in both places at once, so pay attention to where he will be and who gets matched up against that second corner. Maybe Baker will try to take advantage of that. And last but not least, the guy I'll be paying attention to, not really a matchup, but he's just more of a player. It'll be Derrick Brown. Because last week, Anthony Simmons of the Titans and the whole interior line of the Titans gave this Giants front offensive lineman some trouble. They got penetration. I know Saquon had his yards, but if you look at a lot of plays they got after Daniel Jones, 5 sacks, a lot of plays did have penetration. Saquon Barkley was making chicken salad out of chicken doo-doo, and he was just able to use his speed and elusiveness to make things happen, but there were multiple times where there was leakage and penetration in some of these runs that they had. So this will be an opportunity for Derrick Brown to really step up and try to make an impact. He got washed around and beat up and thrown around a lot last week versus the Browns, but the Browns and Wyatt Teller, they have some of the best collection of offensive linemen in the NFL with the most potent running game. So it was pretty much the extreme of what we'll see for the most part this year. Obviously, San Fran will probably give us a little bit of trouble with their sophisticated running game, but this will be a chance for Derrick Brown to try to bounce back. We'll see how he steps up to the plate this week. Like I said, they looked a little bit vulnerable last week. Obviously, Anthony Simmons is an amazing player, but there's opportunity there for the interior line to make a difference, and Derrick Brown needs to step up and get it done and be that stronghold for us in the middle of the defensive line. So let's talk about the keys to the game, because my first key to this game is which team will use their running back the best. Last week, the Carolina Panthers, they barely gave Christian McCaffrey the ball. He only had 3 touches in the first half, only ended up with like 14 total. Obviously, he had the fumble recovery, which was going to be a running play. It ended up being 30 yards at the count on the stat sheet. But we're so used to and accustomed to Christian McCaffrey getting 25, 30 touches a game. So to see him get half of that, it seems like, okay, we wanted you to back off and lighten the load, but this load is a little bit too light. He could definitely carry more. So I would like to see Christian get up to that 20 range and definitely commit to it being majority in the run. I would like to see 15 carries, maybe 5 to 6 to 7 catches in the passing game, and that'll be plenty to get things going. And obviously last week against the Titans, obviously it's Derrick Henry, but they use the play action a lot to run a lot of deep crossers. There's a lot of crossers and plays off of play action that we use that I showed you in the offensive film that Baker missed that the Titans were able to take advantage of with Ryan Tannehill. So the opportunities are there with those type of plays to use Christian McCaffrey to set up the offense for everybody else. Now on the other side with Saquon Barkley, he got plenty of touches. They fed this guy. He looks like he's back to the Saquon Barkley we've grown accustomed to seeing. Very explosive, popping a lot of long runs. But their running style, a lot of people think that, okay, Saquon had 164 last week against the Titans. If we gave up 200 Nick Chubb, Saquon's going for 200. Pause. There's different styles of running. Like I said, the Browns are a more sophisticated downhill running team. They run some zone and stuff like that, but they run a lot of power and gap scheme type of things that really push guys around and lean on you. I know with the Giants, they do some power run schemes too, like the pin and pull to get Saquon to the outside, but instead of more so of going side to side and getting guys to the perimeter, they want to get guys and get upfield. And that way, Saquon Barkley can get north and south and use that speed to bounce to the outside. Saquon, he will press the hole inside, but he definitely wants to get to that edge and use that speed and explosiveness. There's not too many guys in the league good at bouncing the ball outside as him. So they'll be trying to get him on that edge, and the Panthers, it'll be up to them to try to keep him corralled into the box. That way he can't kill you, because it's not those 6, 7, 8 chunk yard runs that we're getting gashed like we was with Nick Chubb. With Saquon, it'll be 3, 2, 5, 4, 3, 2, 35, 60-something yards. So if you can slow down the home run and keep him off the edge, you can do some things and slow down Saquon Barkley a lot more, because it's a lot muddy inside. Like I said, they allowed a lot of penetration in the interior run. It was just Saquon was able to slip those, bounce to the outside, and make things happen. So if we can contain Saquon on that front and keep him from getting to the edge, the Panthers defense can have some success, because like I said, it's a different type of running style. Nick Chubb, he didn't really hit any home runs last week. It was death by 1,000 paper cuts. 6 or 7 yard paper cuts to be exact. But Saquon is a different thing. He's like a boxer. He's going to have a couple jabs in there, but he's going to go for the haymaker to try to knock you out. He's not going to try to beat you with points like a Nick Chubb will, or throw body blows like Nick Chubb will. So it's a different type of attack. So I wouldn't just assume automatically that Saquon is going to go crazy just because Nick Chubb went crazy. The next key to the game is respecting Daniel Jones' legs and everything else. Apparently his hands, according to last year. But Daniel Jones is a factor. He's not going to kill you, but we've seen him break long runs. He's definitely a willing runner. He's willing to pull the ball. And also, you have to respect the fact that he's going to slide weird. He doesn't really know how to slide, and the way he slides, it draws a lot of late hits. Sometimes the refs don't bail him out because he slides so awkward and doesn't get down fast enough. But you have to respect him pulling and play great assignment football. I know we want to be focused on shutting down Saquon, but don't forget about the legs of Daniel Jones. So definitely respect Daniel Jones. He's not Lamar Jackson. He's not going to go for 100 or 80 yards on you. But he can be effective enough in the running game to the point that he'll move the chains ever so often. So make sure you respect Daniel Jones' legs. And the last key to this game is how much of a step forward will Baker Mayfield make in this game. A lot of people talk about the biggest jump you make in the NFL season is from week 1 to 2, because you finally get a chance to be competitive for a full 60 minutes after the bits and pieces and piecemeal of training camp and preseason. The week 1 game, you get to put it all together. We went through the film together in my offensive breakdown, and we saw all the meat that Baker Mayfield left on the bones, with receivers running open, him not trusting everything, not trusting the protection all the time, and us not utilizing Christian McCaffrey fully. So I would like to see how big of a step Baker Mayfield can make, because like I said, there's opportunities there. There's a lot of things that the Titans did that the Panthers tried to do last week that we could take advantage in this offense for the Panthers with Baker Mayfield. We'll see with Ben McAdoo getting his legs underneath him in another game with Baker Mayfield together. They're going to get in unistep, and we'll see how big of a step forward Baker Mayfield does after watching this tape from last week. My prediction, finally here, all right? My prediction for this game is the Carolina Panthers 24, the New York Giants 20. I think this will be a pretty steady game as far as scoring. It could be offensive struggle at some point, but I don't think any of these defenses are dominant or potent enough to shut down these offenses. What we saw from the Panthers or the second half, that's kind of a taste of what we would love to see from them. Explosive plays, good drives, running the ball a little bit, getting Christian McCaffrey involved, getting the ball to DJ Moore finally. So we want to see that ball spread around, but we also want to make sure Christian McCaffrey gets the ball. I think they get it right, get Christian the ball a little bit more. I think Baker takes that step, and I think with the injuries up front to the Giants and the injuries to that cornerback position, I think the passing game will be able to be a lot more potent, and I think the offensive line will be able to hold a little bit more steady, especially on the edges, after not having to face Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney. I think Daniel Jones gives us one. I think they keep Saquon Barkley under 125 yards all purpose, and the defense does enough to be able to get this win. And I think the offense really takes a step forward and looks a lot more crisp for a full 60 minutes versus just a half of a game. You guys let me know down below in the comments your score prediction of this game, and if you think the Panthers are going to win, do you think they lose? I just think that the Giants stole that win last week, and the Panthers, they turned it on. It just fell a little bit short because of a missed call or whatever. The Giants were fortunate that they got the benefit of a missed field goal by the Titans. So we'll see what happens. I think that this will be the thing to try to get things rolling and turn the season around. It's definitely a must-win in my opinion. So I think the Panthers get it done in this game. You can call me biased if you want. I don't really care. I'm going to keep this thing pounding. You guys let me know how you feel. Make sure you are subscribed. Hit the bell icon so you don't miss any videos. Appreciate you watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.